I don't mind if you simply come from another generation, right? Like, you can't control when you were born. And if you were born at a certain time, if you're born in the 80s and you grow up and by the time you're sports conscious, you know, you're watching Michael Jordan, I have no problem if you say he's the greatest player of all time. I have no problem if you were born a few years after me, 5 years after me, 4 years after me, and you think LeBron James is the greatest player of all time and the second greatest player of all time. That's who you're sports conscious. That's this when you're sports conscious, and that's the guy you see, and he's at the top of the game. I don't fault you for that. You are wrong though in terms of where you rank these players. And Michael's the one guy who I'll admit I'll never win that argument because Michael's in such a high and revered class and should be. He's one of the he is the easiest to not be able to argue GOAT status because the fact he's 6-0, and I'll get to that point later in this video, in this segment. But just because you're born at a different time does not mean you can disrespect guys who played before you or guys who in music were before your time. You don't get to do that. I'm gonna use every bit of power I have to stop this Kobe slander that's been going on the last couple years. Kobe Bryant, and I've always said it, is the greatest player I ever got to watch in real time. He's better than LeBron. I apologize to all my LeBron fanboys. No, I don't. Is the greatest player I got to watch in real time. And it's just, to me, the greatest player of all time. And I'll say second, because I'll give Mike the respect factor, right? The narrative I'm going to destroy, though, and I don't care how many times that I have to do it. I don't care how many times I have to talk about it. How many times I got to do editing for it? How many times I got to bring it up? And if you're someone who's not a Kobe Bryant fan, I highly suggest just turning this episode off right now. Or video if you're watching on YouTube. Kobe Bryant, the narrative that he had these great teams, and that he was not able to elevate guys the way LeBron does or the way Magic does, is bullshit. No. I don't think you heard me right. It's bullshit. I'm going to take you through 3 phases of Kobe's career. Okay? And I want you to really examine this. Okay? So let's take through these early championship years, because what was the narrative on Kobe back then? Oh, Shaq carried him to a title. Shaq just was the most dominant player of all time, and Kobe wouldn't have done anything without Shaq, right? That's all we talk about. Shaq was, and I like Shaq, so let me not make this a Shaq hating thing, but it became, oh, Kobe needed Shaq. Shaq carried Kobe. Oh, he did? Well, let's look at the numbers, because I would hate to throw opinions or bias at you. The first year they won a title, 99 to 2000. Shaq averaged 30.7 points per game, 15.4 rebounds. Kobe averaged 21, 4 and 4. Okay. Shaq carried Kobe that year. Kobe was 20, but Shaq carried Kobe. I'll give you that year. Next year, Shaq averaged 30.4 points, 15.4 rebounds. Like I said, Shaq is a monster. I'm not denying that. Kobe Bryant averaged 29.4, 7.3 rebounds, and 6.4 assists. Oh, Shaq carried Kobe that year, right? Don't think so. Year number 3, or title number 3, I'm sorry. Shaq averaged 28.5 points per game, 12.6 rebounds. Kobe averaged 26.6. 5.8 rebounds, 4.6 assists. Shaq carried Kobe again? I will give you the first year that Shaq was the best player in the game, and he dominated, and he carried the Lakers to that title. But to give you even better context, let's look at who the honorable mentions of the Lakers are for those years. The 3rd and 4th leading scorer on that first championship team, Glenn Rice at 12.4 points per game, Ron Harper at 8.6. Okay. Hall of Famers right there. In his second championship, Derek Fisher, 13.4 points per game. Which, by the way, is far more than I thought Derek Fisher scored at any point in his career. Rick Fox at 10. Oh, let's look at the 3rd championship year. 10.2 points per game for Derek Fisher and 9.8 from Rick Fox. Shaq carried Kobe all those years. Kobe was just there for the ride. despite outscoring the third and fourth highest scoring Lakers by himself, despite being a point and a half away from Shaq in the second and third title run. But Shaq carried him, right? Let's look at something really interesting here. So, and I could go through all of the useless teammates and the whack players Kobe had to endure post Shaq leading up into Pau Gasol, right? And I'll get to that third phase in a minute. I could bring up all the worthless names, right? I could bring up all the busts, the what do you call them? The terrible players Kobe played with. But as you guys like to redefine history and rewrite history and revise history, Kobe's always had great teams. It's the Lakers. They get whatever free agents they want. I'm going to take you to one game in particular. And I'm going to the 81-point game. And I'm only going to the 81-point game for the specific reason of I want you to think what LeBron does in this game, or what Mike does in this game, or what anybody else in NBA history does in this game. Right? Because Kobe's selfish. Kobe shoots too much. Kobe does this. Kobe does that. You know, Kobe owes me $5. I just really don't like him. Let me read off some stat lines here for you. I know you guys love stats. I know you guys are all number freaks, right? Y'all love stats. All right. Lamar Odom. Pre-cocaine even. Good player, right? All-star caliber player. Great player for the Lakers. Oh, he played 43 minutes. Went 1 of 7 shooting. That's right. Chris Mim. Ha. That was a great player, right? Oh, he had 12 points. Sadly, that was the second highest scoring Laker that day. Kwame Brown. Future Hall of Famer Kwame Brown. Oh, that's right. He went 1 of 5 because he's Kwame Brown and terrible. And then, can I get a drum roll, please? For the incredible, the insatiable, the all-time great, that is Smush Parker. Woo! Smush Parker. And I take that back. I apologize. He was the second highest scoring Laker. He had 13. Let's see. Oh, let's look at some of the guys off the bench, right? I know you guys love this one. Sasha Vujacic played 14 minutes. Luke Walton played 14 minutes. Brian Cook played 14 minutes. Ooh, can't forget about him. Oh, and of course, Davian George, the career 5.6 points per game. He played 22 that night. He was really lighting it up. The Lakers bench scored 5 points that night. 5. Where's like some really sad music I can play? I need to play just some really sad music, because what does LeBron do in that game? What does Mike do in that game? What does anyone do in that game when your fellow starters are Lamar Odom on 1 of 7, Chris Mim, Kwame Brown, and Smush Parker? That's when you call into work sick, kids. That's when you say, fuck this company. This company can't get me shit. I'm leaving. Kobe scored 81. Let's fast forward to face. Gosh, I've made this argument in my head so many times, and every time I bring it up, I get a little more mad, because I know there's people who are still going to defend and criticize him for being the player that he was, and they're just, there's guys even that I listen to that I'm like, you know, I like them, but I don't respect their opinion on Kobe. This hellhole team. Let's get to those championship teams of 2009 and 2010, right? Those were great Laker teams, right? But we finally had another superstar in Pau Gasol who is building a dynasty. Who was on that Laker team? You had Pau, Lamar Odom, Andrew Bynum. Oh, that was great, right? He was Andrew Bynum was big time. Sasha Vujacic, Jordan Farmar, Steve Blake, Luke Walton, not the coach, Shannon Brown. Oh, but he had 5-time champion Derek Fisher with him. Missed 13 points a game in the playoffs 10 years ago. And you're still going to deny Kobe his right as being one of the 2 or 3 greatest players of all time? Look at who he played with. Don't just revise history and say he took X amount of shots. He had X amount of turnovers. He had X amount of points. Take full context and evaluate Kobe Bryant as what he is. One of the 3 greatest players to ever play the game of basketball. And I don't care how many times I have to say this or how annoyed people get at that I say this. I will defend Kobe to the fucking moon and back as the greatest player I ever watched. And him, Magic, and Mike are the 3 greatest players of all time. Let's also not forget, when Lamb and LeBron were the 2 best players in the league, one of them made it to the finals, the other didn't. But one had Boobie Gibson, right? and the other had Smush Parker and Derek Fisher. Am I right? If you heard or saw anything that you liked, please give it a thumbs up. And if you think that I'm interesting, like my opinion, or like the video, don't forget to subscribe for more content. I want to see you back here on the channel. You want to see you back here on the channel. So let's make it happen.